Hi friends. I want to take a few minutes to talk about a foundational plan, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible. We're going to talk about the LLV line, which stands for Lifelong Vitality. It's our supplement line, and it's full of nutrients and omega-3s and a great mitochondria cocktail. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about a digestive enzyme that everybody and all of your pets and animals and children, everyone needs, and I'll tell you why. And citrus oils. So those are the three foundational items that are on the table literally today. So let's get started. First of all, I want to talk about nutrients. We have macronutrients, micronutrients, and phytonutrients. Macronutrients, we often will say, count your macros or look at your percentage of your macros. If macronutrients come from carbs, proteins, and fats. Now, we don't need an exorbitant amount of any of those individual categories. We want a balance in those areas. But each of those things provide different things for the body. Like proteins will help provide amino acids for your phytonutrients to boss around. Micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals. And vitamins and minerals come from food. It can also come from external sources like a supplement that you would take. And that's what we're going to talk about with the LLV line. Phytonutrients could also be called phytochemicals, and that's the category that essential oils fits in. Essential oils are volatile, aromatic, chemical compounds that come from plants. So because they are food-based, they are not man-made, they come from a life source, from a plant material. We cannot recreate what an essential oil is. And for years and years, that's what the pharmaceutical community has tried to do. They've tried to manufacture or man-make chemicals. The chemical alone is not as fully active in the body in absorption and use toward healthy structure and function when it's not from the whole plant. Drugs can drive function and they can inhibit function. And let me give you an example of that. If you had something in your digestive system that was causing constipation, then you would need to drive function. If you had the opposite of that and you had extreme diarrhea, then you would need to inhibit function. And so the pharmaceutical industry will look into individualized methods of addressing individual symptoms. And one of the great things about putting a foundation of natural modalities in your life, of nutrients and supplements and essential oils, is that you can use products that are adaptogenic. So one of my favorite stories to tell is surrounding a blend that we have called Digestive. And just as I just said, you would need two different medications to address those two parts of the digestive health. If you use Digestive, it addresses body balance to the digestive system. So it's helping support proper function and structure to the digestive system, and it's adaptogenic. So it's the same blend that you would use for constipation as you would for diarrhea. And why? Because it is helping support the body, and the body is designed to heal itself. I have a friend who works with children who have a lot of health problems, and they seek her for physical therapy and other people from her team for occupational therapy. Many of these children are on feeding tubes, and she said there is a profound difference in their health overall between the ones whose parents use man-made food in the feeding tubes with a lot of processed chemicals and those who use the pureed whole food feeding tube approach. And so just when we're seeking out vitamin lines and things like that, we need to be thinking in terms of the whole food and not just the chemicals. Medications have what's called a therapeutic index. And a therapeutic index takes an effective amount and then it will end when it can become a toxic dose. And so the reason why we have prescriptions, those are for things that have a very narrow therapeutic index, where it's effective and where it can become toxic is very close and needs to be under medical supervision. Things with a medium level of therapeutic index would be things that we can get over the counter, like the issue that I just mentioned. If somebody needed something for constipation or diarrhea, we can go to Walmart or the drugstore down the street and we can buy those for ourselves, and we know when we need those and we can get those when we need them. So those have a medium where the effectiveness is here, the toxicity level's here, and there's a safe range, and it's safe enough that we're trusted to get them for ourselves. Because essential oils are not a drug, they are a plant matter, they fall into the supplement category. We're supporting the body. And the therapeutic index for essential oils is extremely wide. There is a large space of safety when used appropriately and when used from a reliable therapeutic level company. The purity and the potency really does matter. Sometimes people will say that they're not getting what they really were hoping for out of their essential oil experience. And I usually find out that either they've just used oil once or they've used a lot of it and then they just let it go. And rule of thumb with essential oils, you want to use small amounts quite consistently so that they maintain activity in the system, because we are supporting the body to do what the body can do. And it works really, really well. How many of us would say that the therapeutic index of water is quite wide, isn't it? H2O helps cells communicate and helps cells move throughout the body. Now, can someone have too much water? Yes, someone can use water unsafely. And people have been known from time to time to drown their electrolytes, and it can cause even death. And it would not cause us to stop and say, oh, no one use water. It's so unsafe. That's ridiculous. We need water. Water is an essential to our life and to our existence. So we need to use water safely and effectively. A little tip on water is if you take your weight and you divide it in half and you turn that into ounces, that is a high but optimum level of water for you for the day. So if you weigh 120 pounds, that would be 60 ounces of water a day. Most of us are not getting enough water, and we are living our lives tired in the midday because of dehydration more than anything else. So instead of adding coffee, take a drink of water, or instead of taking that nap, take a drink of water and just see what happens. You might surprise yourself, because H2O is very wide with its therapeutic index when used safely and effectively, and that H2O will help your cells communicate and move and have energy throughout the body. Essential oils, what do? They scrub receptor sites on the cells. Say that 5 times. They scrub receptor sites on the cells. And that is so important when it comes to emotional health, when it comes to hormone balance. It's amazing. They also bind and remove metabolic debris and toxins. So they bind to the debris and help it excrete throughout the body. That's amazing. And then they also mediate energy at a cellular level. Right now, we are the most toxic people. This is the first generation that actually has a lower life expectancy across the board. So that should sound alarms for all of us, that we've got to do something about our toxic load. Let me give you an example of how the body handles toxic load. When we breathe in toxic fumes, the body will identify the good from the bad, and it will deal with it. It'll either expel, flush, filter, protect, or if it can't get rid of it in any of those ways, it will store it in the fat cells. And so I want to ask you, if you or anyone that you know has a hard time releasing fat from the body, and they eat healthy and they work out and they're doing everything that they can do, but the fat is still there, it most likely is because the body is over flooded with toxicity and it can't release it because the body's in protective mode, so it will hold that toxicity in the fat cells. So one thing that you can do, you can check your toxic load through your environment, through your air fresheners and cleaning supplies. You can check your emotional toxic load through your negative thought patterns and stored anger or resentment or hurt from the past. You can also check your diet for a toxic load that's coming in or going out. You have chimneys in your body. You have your liver. Your liver is king. It is fantastic at ridding toxins from the body. You have your digestive system and your urinary tract. You have your skin and you have your lungs. And so if all of those areas are overrun, if you see a lot of skin issues, then you know that you got to kind of work backwards. So the best place to work backwards too is your gut health, because your liver and your digestive tract is going to be the first and best line of defense for your body. So we want to decrease toxic load externally and internally. So how do we do that internally? We can help the efficiency of protection and cleansing, and if we don't, then it creates dis-ease in the body. The body is designed to heal and to regulate in very specific ways to repair your health. And each body system seeks out a certain optimal functional level of that operation. So if we start seeing symptoms, we need to see them like big red flashing lights that get our attention, that we need to support the body systems that would deal and handle those symptoms and lay them to rest. Over time, when we have dis-ease, a diagnosis is given. But by the time a diagnosis is given, it has usually been asymptomatic insult for years or even decades on the body. And all diseases are traced to three things: toxic load, chronic inflammation, or genetics. Those are the three things. I'll say them again: toxic load, chronic inflammation, or genetics. Originally, genetics was believed to be stationary, but now researchers are finding that it is changeable. Through exposure, through helping effective structure and function rev up in the body, to being proactive and living a preventative lifestyle rather than symptomatic and reactive, we can be seeing more and more people breaking those cycles, coming through to a point of appropriate nutrition using micronutrients, macronutrients, and phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are the parts of the plant or parts of the whole food that don't fall into those categories of macros and micros. We need to see the body as something that we don't know everything about, that we still have a lot to learn. And I see this in the medical community. This was something that Mike and I were quite surprised about. When he was in the hospital, we were stared at like we had 5 heads when we were asking specific questions regarding nutrition and hydration and the human body needs. It's just not taught the way that it should be. It's called the medical community for a reason. But medicines really don't need to be our first line of defense. Our first line of defense starts at home, in our own body home. And you and I can take responsibility for that by laying a strong foundation. So I want to talk about all you need for the beginning of your strong foundation. Okay, everybody, diseased or healthy, young or old, can use vitamins. And this vitamin line, LLV, Lifelong Vitality, is amazing. They're whole food based, and I want to tell you what they are. So this first one is your micronutrients. These are your vitamins and minerals in a whole nutrient complex. It's food based. Sometimes people will say that the capsules are bigger than what they're normally used to taking. Well, they're not compressed to the point where they're ineffective and you just rid them through the septic system. They are used and utilized 100%. There have been lots of dietary trends in the supplement industry for years, and in the 80s and 90s it was a big trend to go over and above the amount of each nutrient. I mean, into way grossly more than what the body utilizes. And it's proven 20, 30 years later that that was not the smartest way to address the body, that more really wasn't more. And so the scientists that partnered with doTERRA have created this line so that it is exactly within a margin of what you will utilize. So you're using every single bit of it. I feel more energy with this than I have with any other diet supplement I've ever used. And that says a lot because I've tried several over the years that I thought were top of the line. So I actually neglected this part of my health. I was still using grief oils and things like that, but I stopped my nutritional foundation. I don't really know why. I let myself gain 37 pounds. My clothes weren't fitting right, and I just didn't really care to get those disciplines back quickly after Mike died. And I knew that I should, but knowing and doing sometimes are two totally different things. And when I finally decided to start taking this supplement line again, boom, I noticed such a huge difference in my energy level. My kids could see it, my friends could see it, I'm sleeping better at night. I don't know why I did that. I won't do it again. It really does make a difference. Then we have the omega-3s, and this one is a fish oil complex, but we also have a vegan version. And this is for brain function, for nervous system, for your digestion, your immune system, and preservative qualities. It is called Lifelong Vitality for a reason. And if you've been seeking the fountain of youth and you can't find it, this is a good place to start because it really does help with youthful vitality and getting that brain fog cleared so that you just are awake and alive. It's awesome. And then there's this alpha CRS, and this is our antioxidant. This goes against oxidative stress that can cause so much damage. And it gives energy at a cellular level. It helps cells reproduce energy and carry out specific functions. It's great for mitochondrial support. And in my posts that I talk about medication toxicity, I talk a lot about mitochondria damage. This is one of those things that if you've heard of needing a mito cocktail, this is our mito cocktail. And it's wonderful. Now, sometimes if people are really, really sick, this will go right through them. They'll feel like they're just having to sit on the toilet a lot. And if that happens, then Terrazyme is a digestive food enzyme, and this needs to be ramped up. And this can be stopped for a week or two, or even 3, while this is ramped up, and then add it back. And continue to try that until the body can handle all 3. It really is quite healing to the body. And so now I'm going to move on and talk about this Terrazyme. Everybody needs this. Your pets, everybody. I love anything that will help heal the gut health from dis-ease. We have so many diseases that we don't attest to the gut. We think it's another body system, but if we heal our gut biome, then it helps in all of those other areas. There's 80%, 70 to 80% of your immune system is controlled in your gut. Our emotions in our gut are interconnected very intricately, and you know that because like when you fall in love, you get butterflies in your stomach, or when you're nervous, you can feel your stomach twist, and when you're angry, it really attacks in your gut, right? Well, this is a digestive enzyme capsule, and it's actually broad spectrum. There's multiple types of digestive enzymes in here to support our bodies. The body produces natural digestive enzymes, but it begins to produce less and less as we get older and older. So it's really important to seek an outside source to help support our lack of digestive enzymes. And if people have taken antibiotic, if they've had an overuse of medications, then they probably have even less and need more help. So here's how I want you to think about this. Instead of like the small consistent amounts over time, think of this more like a bank. If your bank card is in the red, then you have to do some things to build it up to get it in the black. And then if you have expenditures, it's kind of this checks and balances thing. It needs to continue. But when you get to a point where you're in the black and in the black and in the black, then you can begin saving. And when you have savings, this is how the body handles these. The digestive enzymes don't go away. They're more like saved like in a bank. And then whenever you are depleted, they're there for when you need it. This is an amazing product. My dog is 8 pounds, and I can open up one of these powder capsules and sprinkle just a little bit. So one capsule probably lasts 3 meals or 3 days for her, but I'll just sprinkle a little bit on her food. And she was prone to ear infections and upset skin. She had a big yeast problem in her little body when we adopted her, and this helps tremendously. So I recommend this for children, for people who have attacks during pollen season, for people who have a need for lymph to improve and to move illness through the body, for people who have just been sick for a really long time, and for people that have like candida overgrowth and things like that. I highly, highly, highly recommend Terrazyme for everyone. And if you need to up the dose, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to do great things. You'll see a difference. It helps to carry out hormone and cellular function. And when those digestive enzymes are gone, your body just simply is not as effective. So we have to add them. We need to store them up like a bank. All right. So foundational daily wellness is what we want to work toward, and we want to be walking away from dis-ease in the body. If we stay in a deficient state, we create an environment that our body systems cannot perform well in or carry out proper function. Enzymes are a catalyst to life, respiration, thought, growth, taste, immunity, preservation, and many, many more things. Let's take control of our gut health. You'll be amazed at how it will help trickle into every other category. Chronic inflammation and unhealth are related with one word: pain. If you feel pain, you probably have inflammation. If you have inflammation, you know you have pain. Those two things go hand in hand. So one thing that this system does is help reduce inflammation. And there are things in here like turmeric. We also have a turmeric oil, which is really great for inflammation. But some of the things that are right in these are already there for you. And then whenever you start using essential oils, it's not so overwhelming because you can just begin to use those as add-ons, addressing specific protocols when you need systems intervention or when you need something calming at night and something balancing in the morning. Okay? What the body cannot excrete, I'm talking about toxicity, it will store, and what it stores, it will wreak havoc. So we want to get on the offense and stop being on the defense. We do not want these little armies overrunning our body. When Sadie was really little and we were talking about health, she used to talk about her superheroes, and we wanted to amp up and rally up all of the superheroes in her body to attack the villains that were coming her way. You can totally do it. You can challenge yourself. You can start out with one of each at 1 meal or one of each at 2 meals. I do 2 of each at 2 meals a day, and it's just part of life. Now let's finish out by talking about citrus oils. Citrus oils are high in limonene, and limonene is a chemical that reduces acid in the body. We need to be more alkaline because we have so much acidity. Acidity comes through negative thoughts, and we get those from looking at the news and watching Facebook and having, interpersonal relationships that just go badly, and that thoughts and negative conversations that we reel around in our mind of unforgiveness and things like that. One negative thought raises the acidic level in the body, and we want to not become too acidic. You look at roadkill at the side of the road, that's as acidic as you can get, and that's where we're headed. If your body is too acidic through processed foods and a bad diet and a negative thought life, your body will take alkalinity from places where there is calcium reserve, like your teeth, your bones. So people who have really weak bones or really weak teeth, probably really high in acidity. And so we can put 10 to 20 drops of citrus oil in our lives each day. I drink maybe 4, maybe 5 of these a day, and I'll put about 5 or 6 drops each time that I fill this. I love tangerine and grapefruit. Those are my favorite. I also like lemon, green mandarin, and then if I'm feeling really mucusy, I'll use lime because it's really great at cutting through. Limonene, like I said, it reduces acid, but it also increases glutathione. And glutathione, you can look up that word, and there's a lot of good stuff about that. It helps break down the toxicity in our body's organs. So we want to naturally detox more effectively and with a higher quantity, and we can do so just by adding citrus oils into our lives. And because the physical and the emotional always go together, it amazes me that all of the citrus oils, from an emotional standpoint, help bring up the mood, boost happiness or positivity, or just a feeling of clean and crisp. And so I highly recommend that you also use them in your diffuser or put them on inconspicuous parts of your body. Don't put them where the sunlight is going to hit them because they are photosensitive. They come from the rind of the fruit, and we know that that is where the sunlight hits it and it ripens. We do not need that on our skin, so be safe and be cautious when you use citrus oils. It's okay to put it in the water, and it's okay to put it on the bottoms of your feet or in areas that are not going to get direct sunlight. But breathe them up because they are yummy. So all of that sets a foundation, and then from there you can add specific protocols when systems intervention is needed. So you want to give support from a nutritional standpoint to your body so that your body systems have what they need to have as high level a structure and function as they can have to keep you whole. We can do better. We really can. We can do better. What if instead of building more hospitals for more sick people, what if instead we improved our health at home, in our own health home, our own body, and in our home with our family members, day by day by day? I want to end by saying that this is all in Dr. Hill's current kit. It's called the Daily Habits Kit, but then there's some add-ons, and it's at a most reduced price. It's my favorite kit that's ever been offered, and I really think that you should get it while it's at this price because you won't regret it. You can, on top of this, you can add a probiotic for that gut support. You can add Balance essential oil in the mornings or when you're feeling stressed. It helps ground and bring, it was my favorite. Balance, grapefruit, and frankincense were my 3 favorite oils from the get-go. I love them. It also has lavender, which is a great calming oil for all things calming. And at night, you want to be able to rest really well. If lavender doesn't work for you, Serenity Gel Complex, there's lots of things for rest and sleep. You can ask about that. Frankincense, when in doubt, frank it out. Get the frank out. It's awesome for all of your body systems, particularly your nervous system. And On Guard, 2 drops of On Guard a day is great for supporting your immune system. So there you have it, folks. I hope that you have enjoyed this talk. Just a recap to end. I would say we have macronutrients, micronutrients, and phytonutrients. Macronutrients are your fats and your carbs and your proteins. That's where you have amino acids and things like that. Your micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals. We do not eat healthy enough to get it from our American diet. We need external support. And phytonutrients are the nutrients that don't fit into these two categories, and that's where essential oils fit into things. And that's why essential oils are supplemental, because they are not man-made, they come from nature, and they balance out and help boss around the things in these two categories. When you get essential oil chemicals working along with your antioxidants and your amino acids, you have some really great things going on to support your body systems. If we get out of a symptom cycle, lay that to rest, and instead support systems, then your body will do what your body was made to do. Citrus oils are awesome for helping reduce acidity and raise the alkalinity to help with pH balance in your body, which all of us need. And the digestive enzyme, everyone, including your pets, will benefit from having extra food enzymes breaking down what's happening and building up in your gut health. So I hope this has helped you today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you want to click on that link, it'll be a quick, easy access link straight to Dr. Hill's discount on this foundational kit for you this month or this season. I'm not sure how long it'll last, so get it while you can. Thanks. Bye.